Some big news announcement today that is really, I think, going to shake the car industry and maybe get into a historic movement going forward. We'll break it down for you. It's going to be a good one. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back into Tech Path. All right, so let's get into a couple of points today. I want to kind of lead off with what's happening right now within the automotive industry when you think about EVs, but really the growth of where robotaxis are going, and also the launch. What we're getting ready to see, I think, is a very big shift going forward. And of course, Waymo has been out there in the business for quite some time. Now, of course, that is shifting over to Tesla with their first launch in a geofence location in Austin. Now, what does this mean for crypto? Well, the idea is that car companies are going to get much more creative. And as they get more creative, they're going to start doing some things, I believe, and we're going to see today in Web3. Elon even was trying to do this in his early era. Remember when he tweeted this was quite some time ago? And he was going after the flying car. And the flying car, of course, we all know, was DeLorean. DeLorean was, in essence, being built now, I think, as a DeLorean truck, if you think what Cybertruck has been able to do in a very short period of time. And this is kind of interesting because it starts to flow into maybe the strategies that some of the car companies will be taking. Take a look.
DeLorean, the car.
Yes, but the token, the DMC token.
What do you mean the DMC, the token, dude?
Bro.
Okay, so big news, of course, DMC did launch today, and joining us is going to be Evan Kuhn, who is the president of DeLorean Labs. I wanted to bring him on the show. Evan, how are you?
Doing great. Thanks for having me. It's exciting to be here.
Yeah, so you guys have got some big news today. Obviously, the launch of DMC. I'm over on your website, DeLorean Labs. If you guys... We've covered this topic before, and it's one of the few things that we've centered around the automotive industry, because we think when you think automotive, Web3 is almost a natural for it. And of course, Evan, you guys have done a lot in the way of launching a Web3 ecosystem around this brand. Can you explain to me and our audience a little bit about what you guys are up to? Give me the latest.
Yeah, so as everyone probably knows by now, DeLorean is coming out with a new electric vehicle. That's going to be the DeLorean Alpha 5, was announced a few years ago. DeLorean, being a very future forward thinking company, decided, okay, let's jump into Web3, deliver each car with a crypto wallet, and have an NFT backing each car. So we created a marketplace at marketplace.delorean.com to pre-sell the vehicles. We've already sold 1,200 Alpha 5 vehicle reservation build slots. Those NFTs are in the hands of the holder now, and they have the ability to trade them in the marketplace. So if someone didn't get a chance to buy one, they can go on the marketplace and get one in the secondhand market. Or if someone has bought one, they decide they don't want the vehicle anymore, can't afford it, they have that ability to essentially earn for their place in line and get out of their deposit. And by using the blockchain technology, this is what I believe this technology is meant to be used for. So we're very excited to be paving the way for the future.
Because it is a very forward-thinking car brand, and I think kind of next generation of where we will see automotive going, this is a big deal. Right now, what kind of feedback have you guys been able to get so far?
Well, I mean, the feedback has been incredible. There's been so much support from all the different communities. We've seen other communities in Web3, welcome us in with open arms. A lot of memes that we've seen, people photoshopping different meme projects, driving the vehicle, and all sorts of really cool communities embracing us there. And then in the traditional auto world too, tackling a lot of the existing pain points that we often hear customers complain about, especially in previous auto releases. We've seen people have to wait up to 5-6 years for a vehicle to be delivered from when someone put down their initial deposit. And then hearing those pain points and complaints, we've really come out with a product that addresses that.
So you guys were able to get in front of Future Car Blondie, which is probably, I would say, the most renowned automotive YouTuber out there, with a real unit. And of course, that exposure is going to, I think, propel the brand going forward. You look at the token launch, which is now starting to gain some traction as of today. We'll most likely see maybe an acceleration just around the fever of that. A brand launching a token, especially an automotive brand launching a token, how do you see this kind of going to next evolution, and what's your future plan around how the token is going to operate along with the brand itself?
Yeah, so the token is kind of like the lifeblood of the community that really ties everything in the ecosystem together, allows people that are fans of the brand to almost like own a part of it and be part of it. And yeah, it really gives them a way to interact with what we're doing in Web3 in a way that has never been done before. We have all sorts of things planned. We have staking planned, the ability for people to deliver or stake their build slot and essentially earn like interest on that through the token. We have a whole drive to earn program planned, where we'll be able to essentially buy back driving data from the user in exchange for the token. When that vehicle is delivered, that NFT vehicle reservation slot will essentially become like the certificate of authenticity or Carfax backing that vehicle. So all the miles, kilometers will be uploaded, service records, and users will be able to earn the DMC token for giving us that data.
I think that's interesting because the automotive industry has been rife with a lot of fraud. But to be able to tie this to the blockchain, that really starts to open up a lot more transparency, which I think is something that the car industry could use.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I've been seeing on the news recently, in Canada, and of car thefts. People, are on the inside of the DMVs and organizations that are, manipulating the VIN numbers and everything with the registrations of the cars to allow the sale of fraudulent vehicles. So this level of transparency should definitely help combat a lot of that as well.
But you look at a lot of other automakers out there, whether you look at Porsche, Lamborghini, Ferrari, I mean, now you're getting into some of the exotics, but you could also see some companies like Tesla, maybe even Rivian, that could go in this direction. What do you think is going to be the next move for the automotive industry? Do you think we're going to see a lot of companies start to go this direction?
Yeah, I think we will. It's just going to take time. This is still the very early days. We're still pioneering this new technology. Really, we're lucky to have a blockchain partner like Sui that we get to work with on this. I would say a lot of the blockchains that came before, the technology just wasn't even ready for this way of thinking and delivering. We need to have the blockchains that are cheap transactions, fast transactions, and that can scale to hundreds of thousands of transactions a second for something like this to be possible. So we're only just getting to that point where the technology exists, especially when it comes to even downloading wallets. One of the things the Sui blockchain does so well is they make it easy for a first timer to come into the ecosystem, download their first wallet, and go through that process. So, we're excited to work with them, and this is really the first time that this technology has existed at scale to be able to do something like this.
You look at what Elon is doing right now, they're testing Robotaxi in Austin, so they're connecting their media, streaming preferences, temperature settings, all that kind of stuff, probably within your Robotaxi/Tesla account. We'll see how this plays out. But I could imagine that this could get into integration with something like Sui and tying it to what's happening in the car, to where a lot of these kinds of preferences and all sorts of creative ways to connect the user to the vehicle could really start to break out. How do you think Sui is going to kind of advance in terms of maybe integrated settings for what you guys are doing in the physical vehicle?
So I mean, definitely it'll all stem from the crypto wallet that's going to exist in each car. And then, the idea is going to have other developers come in and develop all the functionality. So, the car maybe just pull into a parking spot and then the wallet handles covering the parking, or you pull up to a drive-through, handles the payment. When you get into, the car being fully autonomous and, a Robotaxi, it's going to have that wallet, so it can go pay for maintenance. It can go get a car wash, and
Yeah.
so that's really central in a key part of what's coming next.
What about dApps? You look at different projects out there, AI agents starting to roll out with things like food ordering. I'm looking at this and saying, well, man, this could get into everything from an Uber Eats, DoorDash kind of scenario where all of this could be tied into automotive. We've seen this kind of in the Teslas, but still very limited. Web3 opens up a lot of opportunity. Do you guys see more of those kinds of dApps being available in the DeLorean?
Yeah, I mean, like one of the things with Web3 is, you can, like, there's so many ideas, and because it's just on that cutting edge where you can spend days with the team brainstorming all these new possibilities and things, and so it really does take that. Like, we find as a company, we have to be disciplined, and really focus on one thing at a time and really build those blocks. So that's where we've really focused on the marketplace for now, on the vehicle reservation, and then we're just going to build from that foundation once we start rolling the vehicles out.
I'm looking at your your sense band right here, which is essentially, I guess, is kind of the key to the car in essence. When you look at that band, then you think about blockchains like SWI. Will there be any kind of integration with what you guys are doing with the band itself into the SWI blockchain?
So we're actually also talking to some hardware wallet manufacturers as well about how we can integrate that into it, and then have that integrate to the chain, and whether it's kind of unlocks the vehicle and unlocks the wallet, and all the other integrations. So we're having those conversations, but still, as I mentioned, a few steps away from that.
The first time I saw this come out, I was like, this has got to be an opportunity, I think, of really excelling the brand forward. When are you guys, what's the timeline look like, first of all, for the release of the first model? How do you guys see that playing out? And then how successful have you been in being able to expand the brand globally?
Yep. So in terms of the Alpha 5, we're looking at 2027 for the deliveries. So still got a bit of time, but it's no easy feat to bring a car to market.
Yeah.
So working on that, and then what we've seen, especially with this Web3 push, is the amount of interest that has already existed globally. I was surprised to see in countries like India how popular the brand is. Never would have expected that before. Getting in this Korea as well, quite popular there. Across Europe, anywhere Back to the Future was really quite popular. We've seen the brand explode, and right now we're also seeing that a younger demographic is getting into it as well. Like DeLorean has one of the top-selling Lego sets, and in Hot Wheels, and Ready Player One, a newer movie that has come out. It's really introducing the brand and the car to a whole new younger generation.
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking at the potential growth. You say, even though 27 just around the corner, I remember, first time I purchased a Tesla, it was all built on the idea of full self-driving. That was many, many years before we actually had full self-driving. And of course now, here we are in Austin, they're launching their entire Robotaxi fleet now. Again, granted, yes, still geofence, still has a companion driver, so to speak. But the point being is that finally Tesla has gotten to it. How long do you think, well, I guess, first of all, do you feel like that DeLorean will someday also have this kind of autonomy built into the vehicle itself?
That would be inevitably the goal. But DeLorean, that's not our focus at the moment, is building out that. We'd be looking to partner with another provider that could operate that self-driving technology. And I think we all see that as the future. For DeLorean, it's really, since the first one came out, it's been about the experience of getting behind the wheel and driving it yourself. So that's really where the focus is in the short term.
You look at what Teleport was trying to do with Solana, which ended up failing, But the idea is that they were trying to not replace, but give an alternative to Uber. And I'm thinking about, Uber experiences, because you would consider maybe something like a DeLorean maybe could become that kind of connected product to maybe a huge experience, like especially if you think Miami or LA, Dallas, somewhere like that, where
Yeah,
a DeLorean
Dubai.
driver.
We were just out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just out in Dubai recently, and the amount of interest from people that own these car rental companies that
Oh, yeah.
want to buy up 10, 20 DeLoreans to have in their fleet. So when people are there on vacation or going to events, everyone will have their first chance to experience the DeLorean, and so yeah, ton of demand for that.
What about monetizing some of the use cases? You look at advanced automobiles like the DeLorean, what we've seen with projects around Tesla, especially in the camera systems. This is a good example, B-Maps, which is part of Hivemapper. And then what they're doing is basically mapping roads out there for use of this data. Are you guys looking to partner with companies like someone like a Hivemapper or others to where maybe that could be integrated into the vehicle as really like just a dApp, because you're going to have a camera system built into this?
Yep. So yeah, definitely we'll be looking at partnerships like that. That's part of the whole earning DMC token by monetizing your data. So we will definitely look at all sorts of ways that we will allow our users to tap into those other dApps.
So you guys are moving heavily into the gaming sector. Obviously, Time Capsule, the strategy. I want to learn a little bit about Time Capsule, explain it to our audience. But when you look at the opportunity, a lot more gaming opportunities are coming. Animoca, of course, you've partnered with. This is a big deal because Animoca has so many connections within the gaming industry. Talk to me first about the Time Capsule. What does it mean to a user? How's it going to be utilized, et cetera?
Yep. So the Time Capsule was our first entrance into Web3. So that was all about building community. And in the Web2 world, there's a ton of DeLorean communities, car clubs, and we really wanted to bring a lot of those on chain into Web3. So we released the Time Capsule for free in 4 different drops. There is 8,800 of them in total. And I really like to look at this as the membership to the community and the thing that you can own that says, here I am as part of this DeLorean community. For us, kind of have it be that gift that keeps on giving. Initially, these time capsules, they came sealed. And after a few months, they opened up to reveal a bunch of different prizes. The grand prize being a new DeLorean electric EV. We also gave away free pizza for a year from Domino's, some DeLorean-themed Nike Dunks, F1 passes, Karate Combat passes. Also, each time capsule is getting a DMC token airdropped, as well as they received a voucher for our airdrop race to take part in that and earn more DMC token. We have lots of other events planned. We've sponsored Karate Combat in the past. We had a VIP section for time capsule holders, invited them out, got to meet a lot of them in person. And we have a lot of cool ideas for what we can do with these time capsules going forward. Yeah.
Well, I see a lot here, just the prize list you just kind of mentioned there, including a sweet play. I like that.
Yeah. Speaking of gaming.
As you start to connect this to IP, and especially in-game IP, we're talking about a lot of opportunity of growth. I wanted to jump to a tweet real quick because this is one that is interesting to me. When you look at Readyverse, we've had their team on before, but there was a note here, familiar IPs like a DeLorean. And here's my question to you is, first of all, will we see more DeLorean IP in more games? And is there a possibility of how that could possibly connect via Web3 to the actual owner of the vehicle itself?
Definitely see more DeLoreans in-game. So what we're working on with Motorverse from Animoca Brands, so it's going to be an interoperable NFT DeLorean that you'll be able to own this NFT and port it from game to game. So you'll own that DeLorean to be able to race it in many of the different driving games that they come out with. So, one one of the things we've even thought of is if you own the new DeLorean, maybe there is a digital version of that car that you could potentially, drive in different video games as well.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, you think Gran Turismo almost in essence, it's such a huge community that really gets into a lot of what's happening in the automotive sector. Are you waiting on projects like Axelar to enable you to be able to do that in terms of the IP itself, being able to really kind of transport within so many different opportunities around games? Anything that would help speed that up?
Well, I think our first step is to work with Motorverse on that, and get it into all of their racing games. And once we get that set up, then we'll be looking to build on that momentum and just expand from there.
I want to drop into your tokenomics real quickly. I'm looking at this right now. Explain to me, first of all, the airdrops, staking. Why would someone want to buy and hold the token? Can you elaborate on that?
Yep. So, staking is a way to put your token up as collateral and earn from that. So we've got a great program where you can earn from your token. But more importantly, we see the car as just the tip of the iceberg of what we're going to be developing and working on. We really see DeLorean as a brand has so much mass market appeal. And really, if we're only coming out with a few thousand cars a year, the car is very exclusive. So we're looking at coming out with a ton of amazing products. We look at what Porsche has been able to do with Porsche design, what Ferrari does to maximize, their enjoyment of the brand through various products. So we're partnering with a ton of different luxury good manufacturers and other brands to come out with really cool limited edition DeLorean branded products that really use that classic DMC design language and bring it to all types of goods, whether it's eyewear, watches, apparel, accessories. Right. We have a huge roadmap of a lot of cool things planned. And the token's going to be very key to all this. So it's going to be goods that are for token holders that you're going to have to use the token on our marketplace to acquire. And, we're going to look at doing fair drop mechanisms. So, maybe for one drop, you'll have to own a time capsule to have access. Maybe another, you'll have to be staking token to get another access. Maybe it's a combination of the two. So, you're really going to have to be part of the ecosystem to participate in these limited edition drops. And each item will also come with that NFT that backs it as kind of the certificate of authenticity.
Do you think we're going to see other brands launching tokens like this, what you guys have been able to do right now with DMC?
Yeah, I think it's an inevitable step for a lot of brands out there. But yeah, right now it's, as I mentioned, the rails needed to be built. Right. And I think what we saw over the last 15 years since Bitcoin came out, when we got the Ethereum smart contracts, then that led to stable coins, and and then we really needed regulation to start to come in and start to see some clarity around that. So we're really starting to see all these pieces come together. And I think as this technology continues to grow and as regulation becomes clear, we're going to be seeing more brands and companies entering the space. But we're really excited at DeLorean to be creating the blueprint for how traditional brands interact with this technology and come into Web3.
You've got the opportunity now to really take a brand, like a historic brand like DeLorean, scale it in essence that can create all sorts of Web3 ecosystem connects out there. This will be brand IP and game assets, real world assets, assets much like you mentioned outside the ecosystem into other luxury goods. That's where I think a support mechanism like a token gets very intriguing. So I'm going to be watching this one very closely, especially as you guys start to break a lot of new news. I know you guys are getting ready to announce a lot of stuff, so I can't wait for that. We'll be first in line to try to get some of that from you guys. So listen, it's been great having you on the show, Evan, and thank you so much for stopping in. We appreciate the download.
Thank you very much.
You bet. All right. So you guys, if you're not in the Diamond Circle and you want to get in there, you guys can, of course, join it. It's very easy to do. All you have to do is click the link down below. It's actually Very easy. It's free. And the cool thing about that is we send you guys out additional information. Plus, if you're not following me out there on X, do that. It's just @PaulBaron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.